Today is day 3.
Oh, you're so toned down today. This is bread day, pasta day, comfort food day, the food that we all love. Does that mean we don't ever get to eat it? Say the right answer.
We do get to eat it in correct quantities.
And correct pieces. Now,
Pieces?
The type.
Oh,
the kind.
type.
When I was a little girl, my mom made bread every single week, homemade bread. I liked it toasted.
That sounds familiar.
I liked Wonder Bread that you could go to the store and get, that gummy white stuff.
Gummy, right? Keep that word in mind.
My mama made that word up, maybe, I don't know, but that's what I grew up with. I loved it, but, it wasn't good for me now. I really totally know that, plus whatever. Anyhow, we love hot bread as it comes out of the oven. We can inhale an entire loaf. Okay, not maybe, but But we have learned so much in the last few years about what we should and shouldn't. With all the gluten people that have the problem with gluten, we don't. But we still have really toned down what we eat, how we eat. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff today. Well, let me tell you about cereal and what we want to get rid of. Somebody loves cereal at night. Okay, we both do. But we've had to work really hard to find any that we can eat. Because most of them have genetically modified alterations. They have preservatives and they are loaded with sugar.
Well, they've had, in the processing, all of the good stuff taken out, and then they put in these, what do they call them?
Enriched, fortified products. Even the ones that are really good, organic, some of the kashi, some of the other things, we don't eat them because of what they have in them. So I know everybody's going to make your own decisions about things. One of the things that we can eat is granola that we make ourselves. I'm sure everybody has their own granola recipe. We will put ours in the link below.
Those of you who work or go to events, typically when there's a breakfast provided, what does it consist of? Donuts, Danish, different kinds of pastries, and some fruit. Now that's changing these days, but in the past that was, all that was there. But typically, if you want to do something good for your friends that you work with, you bring in a box of donuts.
Yes,
right?
And you know what? I remember sitting at a conference table with all this strong conviction in the middle of everything we were doing.
We had just started, and she had to go on a trip for business to some conference to California, and there wasn't anything for her to eat. I mean, she was in her hotel, and from the hotel to the and there was nowhere to eat right there, and so she goes into the conference place, and they had breakfast, and that's what she was counting on. It was all carbs, every one of them,
carbs.
and not carbs that she wanted.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it's a big challenge because they're everywhere, and it's just the go-to food that people think of.
So in case you don't know what we're doing right now, we're telling you things that you need to rid your kitchen of. And that is ready-to-eat cereal, donuts, Danish, pastries like that. Then we have our store-bought bread. Now, we still buy some store-bought bread, but we work really hard at getting it. And we do make our own. Absolutely. I mean, here is my barley. Here is my kamut. Here is my spelt. And I have wheat over here. And we have a big hand grinder down there that we hand grind them with. And we make our own bread.
We grind, bake, same day. The flour's not sitting around to age, lose nutrients, and become rancid.
So rancid is a huge problem in this category, because if flour sits in a big bin for a long time, you can lift it and just go, oh, what is that smell?
But isn't that one of the reasons why they take so much out of it, so that it can last longer?
Probably.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you, one of our viewers asked us, well, aren't you using Einkorn? This is Einkorn flour. This is already on the shelf, which means, to me, this is already starting to degrade.
Yes.
And yes, it's really nice to have an all-purpose flour on the shelf. What you need to do if you're going to use this, I utilize it with my other whole grains. And this is 100% organic Einkorn, but keep it in the freezer or the refrigerator so that it doesn't go rancid. And only buy tiny little containers like this.
Yeah,
Don't
buy what you're going to use real soon.
Here's another one that we're using that's organic, and it's called 1 Degree, and it is organic sprouted whole wheat flour, again in a very small container, and I mix it with several different kinds of flours so that there's a variety there. I would like to show you a book, and I think I've referred to it before, and I'm going to refer to it again. This right here, hopefully it's not backwards, but it might be, is Einkorn book by Carla, can you say this name? Bartolucci. She lives in Italy. She is from Connecticut, and she is the one that owns this company from Jovial. And Jovial is the brand that we use. It's actually cheaper than some of the brands that are here. We've seen her farm on video.
Yeah, we can't figure out how they can import their grains from Italy to the U.S. and sell them at lower prices than the folks here in the U.S. are growing them.
I think because they have better growers or whatever. I don't know.
I think there may be some other reasons that, yeah.
But that is what we use. That's the book. I'll put the link below to that book through our Amazon. And then there's pasta. We haven't done pasta.
No, we haven't.
So pasta is this love comfort food thing, right?
Yeah.
We don't use much pasta.
We don't.
We have it. Again, this is the Jovial brand. And so this is Einkorn whole wheat pasta. Again, if I have a lot of it, I have to put it in the freezer. This is an organic whole wheat. I also get a quinoa spaghetti, and this one is an organic of a different type. What we do is we use now, when we use our pasta, we don't make it the star of the dish. It's just there. A little bit of it to be able to taste in with the meat and the vegetables, or just the vegetables if that's what you're choosing to do. And it is like, oh, there's a little bit of pasta in here. It's not like, here's this huge pile of pasta with a few little vegetables. So you invert what you've normally been doing. You still get the comfort of the pasta, but not.
But you get the nutritional value of the vegetables, and so it's a better combination.
It's not the star of your show.
I mean, we're not saying eliminate carbohydrates from your diet. No, but decrease, absolutely. You have to have an amount, but they can't be the center.
So you're going to get rid of white enriched pasta, white enriched rice, white enriched flour. Those have to go. What do we eat? This is the store-bought one that we buy. It's Dave's Killer Bread. We lived in Oregon, and his factory was there. And just as we were leaving,
Milwaukee, Oregon.
Milwaukee, Oregon, right across from Bob's Red Mill. And when we were leaving there, he was selling it, so it would go nationally with the stipulation that it stayed where it was to be made organically with all of the way.
Yeah, we made that arrangement with him before we moved away. He went national.
So that we could have it. But again, this is sprouted bread, because sprouted is so much better for you. And we only take tiny little slices so that we're not having much. And in fact, a lot of times we'll just take one slice and split it in two and put it on our plate. if we want a little something. So.
And by the way, we keep it in the freezer till we're ready to use it, and then it stays in the refrigerator if we're going to be using it a lot. So this is not something you let sit on the shelf for a few weeks.
What did we have for breakfast this morning?
I can't remember that far back.
It was about a half an hour ago.
Oh, okay. Well, there were some eggs involved.
Yes.
Which were very good. We had a cereal that was like awesome.
Steel cut oats.
Yes.
And we love steel cut oats, and they take longer to prepare, but they're so good. And make sure you're using an organic kind, and they're just really delicious.
Now, for those of you who like that malto meal, no texture to it kind of hot cereal, this is not that kind.
Okay.
Right?
Right. Absolutely. So we will put the granola recipe below. We will put the recipe to be able to get, the book to be able to get the Einkorn book if you want it. And it's a learning process on Einkorn, but I've started utilizing it more and more in my recipes.
It's working great. Maybe there's a little bit of adaptation taste-wise, but we're there. And anything else doesn't taste right anymore.
Right.
It's great.
We've had a couple of questions from the last 2 days, and so I'd like to discuss some of the questions that we had. One person asked, how are you using your einkorn flour, and if we are using our einkorn flour. So that was perfect timing because it came right into today's video. Oops. So the question was asked, what kind of flour do we use in our cookies? And I actually used a combination of the einkorn flour and of the sprouted whole wheat flour in my cookies. And I don't think I put that in the recipe down below because I just put a whole wheat flour. But experiment with your different flours. This is a total experiment recipe that we made. We took it from Quaker oatmeal and just modified it down so that it was a good recipe for us.
Eliminate the things that you shouldn't be including and substitute those that you should be using. Kind of use your better judgment on what you have, what's available to you, what you prefer, and find recipes that work for you. Or
make up your own. So this question was from Connie Newby, and she also asked, can you use einkorn? So yes, you can. That's what we used. And then we had a comment from someone named BM Dwell, and they talked about not to use coconut sugar anymore because it's not sustainable. We had never heard that, and so I went and did some research on how coconut sugar is made. Don't claim to be an expert whatsoever, but I think it falls into the category of when you are going to look at an elderberry bush, and you're going there in the spring and you see all the elder flowers, wherever you take the elder flowers off to utilize those, you will not get the
chimes.
The berries. And so you choose, I'm going to take part of these to make the elderberry flower things and part of these to do the actual berries. When you're doing the coconut, this person said that it destroyed the trees, and everything I'm reading says that it does not. There's a sap that they cut into and get the sugar out, but once they get to the flour. Once they take the flour, it does not grow into a coconut. And so there's going to be a shortage. If anything, there's going to be a shortage of coconuts.
So the sugar comes from the blossoms.
The blossoms, yeah, which is interesting. So the article I was reading was clear back in 2013, and I will do a lot more research on it. And thank you for bringing that up for information. We, goodness, do not know everything or hardly anything.
Right.
And so it's interesting to know how things are done. The research I read said it does not destroy the trees whatsoever. Then additional research said, no, it does not destroy the trees, but you do have to choose between your flour and your...
So if they took every flower and extracted the sugar, there'll be no more blossoms, no more coconuts, no more trees growing.
Then you have a shortage of coconut oil and coconut things. So there's a balance, but everything I read said it did not destroy the tree. So
okay,
let me know. Those are the questions that I had today.
Yeah.
We had one more question by Krista Inglis, and she was talking when we were referring to the cranberry juice. And she said that her doctor said that D3, and I'm assuming you're saying vitamin D3, your doctor said is a better source for bladder control than cranberry because of the sugar. And remembering we don't use any with sugar in it, but I'm not opposed to adding a D3 if it's a good supplement. We really work to stay away from taking additional supplements, so we try to get all of our nutrients out of the food that we eat.
So it sounds like what we need to do is a little research on
D3.
Natural sources of vitamin D3.
Yeah.
Which is what? We need to understand that better.
I'll go look it up again. Can't remember everything in here. And then the last one is by Westbrook Downs, and she was reminding me of some of the not so good practices from Nestle. And if you recall, I was referring to Nestle that made the Simply Delicious chocolate chip cookies, and they have some practices that aren't good in making their baby foods and other things. Yes, and I do have a list of little tiny companies that are bought up by big companies and how their practices change. So there comes a point where I have to say, can I get this food? Oh, I don't want to buy it because this company, and I have to look at all of that. And if I can't find the food any other way and I can't put soy in my body, it's all this balancing act. But thank you for bringing that up. We appreciate that. We love your comments, and we will try to answer each one of them. Hope you have a great day. Bye.